Today's video, we're going to talk about goal categorization on Google Ads and how it makes a considerable / huge difference in your PPC results. So what I'm talking about here in this video is specifically in your conversion summary on your Google Ads account. The way that you reclassify or classify the goals will change how many actual conversions you get for your money. So typically, if you don't know anything about this, you set up conversion tracking goals in your account, whether it be for tracking purchases, form fills, phone calls, live chats, whatever you're doing. There will be a setting in there that will control what category that Google categorizes that particular conversion, whether it be sales, leads, other qualified leads, and by default, they guess. Your job is to update that so they know what it is that you have. The more they know about how your conversion goals work, the better results you're going to get. Just like, getting more conversion data in the account, them knowing about what each goal actually does, given that you couldn't put a text box there and you say it checks this, this, and this. You at least categorize it for them. So their algorithm that's meant to look at these categories will actually understand better what you've done and therefore how to utilize that data you've given it to the fullest advantage possible, especially considering there's usually multiple goals for tracking, at least if you're, of course, watching the channel content that I have on this channel where I talk about tracking micro conversions, macro conversions, doing offline conversion tracking to track sales when you're generating leads inside your account and so forth. So I'm going to go through the significance of this, and if you stay to the end of the video, actual case studies, 2 different case studies in fact, where we actually updated this where it was not at all categorized correctly, updated it so it was categorized correctly / accurately, and then what results we got as a result of that. So with that said, I will go through all that and more. Before I get into the content though, if you do not know who I am Corey Ziman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability, basically in excess of the management fees that we charge. We are the only agency out there who offers any kind of similar guarantees, which should tell you something about the quality of the information I'm sharing with you on today's video. So with that said, getting into the content. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, what you have in your conversion summary, which you just click on the goal button on the left-hand side of your account to find this menu, and then of course your conversion goals from there, and you got your conversion summary and it'll list all your conversion goals, right? Now, directly to the right of each conversion goal, there's 3 small dots there, okay? Just like I've demonstrated on my graphic here. That's so beautiful. You click on these 3 dots, then there'll be a pop-up there, which then will allow you to reclassify your goals. And they'll give you a bunch of different options to pick from. Sales, leads, whatever. And each category, they give you a subcategory to pick from. So from sales, they'll let you choose purchases, add to cart, when to checkout, and then under leads, it'll be like request quote, subscribe, request a demo, on and on. Each one, given that I admit I was the same when I started out, I didn't think it would make a big difference if they knew this goal was really for a request a quote or just a contact form fill. It actually makes a difference. Google's algorithm has gotten super sophisticated nowadays, which is why they made these categories to begin with, to identify who actually is your customer and who's not, and then to properly weight or grade how much weight they should be putting towards each. Because if you have 2 contact forms on your site, for instance, one that tracks general inquiries, one that tracks demo requests or request a quote, of course, the people that fill out the one is going to be more likely to purchase than the other. Google's system is programmed to weight the one over the other. And when it's deciding how much to bid and whether you should show up for somebody or not, it's going to look at all the past data, specifically people more so that filled out the request a quote form versus the general contact request form, so that ultimately they can get you more results, upbid you in the situations where somebody looks like they're a person who is likely to fill out the request a quote form, therefore scale your account. Because ultimately at the end of the day, yes, Google is trying to make money. They're trying to get you to spend more money. They're doing it in a lot of unethical ways by getting you to waste money on like mobile app clicks many times, or having Google reps trying to convince you to switch to PMax for a lead generation account where it doesn't make sense and you're going to get a bunch of clicks up on the display network and so forth, which Google reps get compensated financially for convincing you to do this, which is a secret in the space that people don't know about. But with that said, they do actually do quite a bit on the flip side, good things that will raise your spend, but do it by raising your revenue so both parties win. Ideally, they want you to raise your revenue by raising your ad spend, because that's going to work out better for them over time. But if they can't raise your revenue by raising your ad spend, they'll get you to raise your ad spend anyway. They're still going to do that. So in this particular instance, they're giving you the opportunity to take the path of let's raise your ad spend by raising your sales. And they do that by letting you give them the best conversion tracking data possible. And as a result of that, they'll raise your revenue while raising your spend at the same time. Or they'll raise your ad spend, but also by raising your revenue that you're getting from your ad spend at the same time, where both people win, ultimately. I've talked about many times on this channel before how the easiest way to make money with additional money with your ads is just to boost up the conversion tracking you have. That means more data. So if you're like, for instance, tracking car purchases, switching to enhanced conversion tracking, which will get you maybe an extra 10% more conversion data, or server-side tracking, which is the best, which will get you a bit more, okay? Or if you're generating leads, tracking whether the leads are qualified or not, and then posting that back to Google as a separate conversion, and then whether those leads turn into a sale, piping that back into another separate conversion, and try to utilize the sales data at some point in time when you've collected enough of it. So you could actually get more data on the goals you have. You could add more goals that track other things that are going to help Google have secondary points of reference to use, or are more correlated with profit in your business, so they'll be more accurate about ultimately, where to have your ads show and how often and so forth. You could also increase the accuracy of conversion tracking data by making your pixel fire more accurately, more frequent, which not a huge factor, but ultimately you make more money by having more volume of data, better quality data, and more accurate data itself. So you could do any of those and you can make more money from your ads. In this particular instance, there's a fourth way you increase your profits from Google Ads by having improve your conversion tracking, and that is by classifying your goals so that Google understands how to utilize the multiple conversion goals you set up in your account, or even if it's just one, categorizing it right, how to utilize that data better, because the system's programmed to understand when one goal is worth more than another, and understand that what is the likelihood that you're able to spend more money on ads, given that what they're giving you is more purchases versus more leads, if you will, because they don't want to bankrupt you ideally, especially if you're a good advertiser and you help their users out more than the competition, because that makes people want to click on Google ads in the future. So ultimately, if you're the top guy in terms of ad click-through rate, conversion rates, then they want to not frustrate you so you'll leave. They'll give you less cost per click, try to have your ad exclusively show up for people that are more likely to convert, which they can kind of tell that before somebody even makes a search what their likelihood or statistical likelihood is to convert. Then similar to that, they want to raise your ad spend, but not so much, quit, stomp your feet, run away out of frustration. They can see you get purchases physically because you've categorized the goals coming as their purchases. Then they're going to know, okay, well, we can safely raise this guy's spend because his sales are going up, versus we're just giving him more page views or whatever. So anyway, with that said, I've got two case studies here that I'm going to go over here as to how this has actually improved our clients' results when we finally figured this out and switched our goal settings to track the goals and categorize them the correct way. Before I get into this though, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you absolutely should, because I got all the information you could possibly ever basically need for making millions of dollars a year running ads for your business. In detail, given to you by somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm and another 30 or so a week just sharing what works on this channel. Or if not all the information you're practically speaking going to find on YouTube and online about making money with ads is coming to you by somebody who doesn't run ads. They're making money other ways. They're getting paid a salary to talk about it, and therefore the information's weak and not useful to you. So therefore you want to subscribe to this channel because you're getting it straight from the source here from somebody who actually is in the trenches doing the work. Furthermore, you should check out my blog on my site. I got a great blog there at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has step-by-step information on how to actually make more money with ads using the strategies we're literally using to guarantee our clients' results, with screenshots, with all of it. So if you like the channel, you should check out the blog as well. If you have any questions about anything I'm covering so far, or any marketing related question, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. So with that said, getting into the case studies now. So the first case study we have is from a guy who sold fancy toolboxes, okay? And like multi-$1,000 toolboxes, like Snap-on, think of like that if you know what that is. We had offline conversion tracking purchases to track the offline sales. So when somebody called up, our client, like you should do if you're in this situation, if you're selling something more than $100, you should be answering the phone and have somebody who's got actual product knowledge answering the phone, because that's key to making Google ads profitable at the end of the day. Otherwise, it just buy it on Amazon because there's nobody there to talk to them. Why not get it there instead? Beyond that, you should also have a way to take the phone order over the phone or the order over the phone, given that a lot of people will tell you, yeah, I'm going to put the order through. Thank you for your help. And they'll just never do it. So you lock down the purchase over the phone and you put it through a virtual credit card terminal system like a Clover or a Stripe, and don't just expect them to go through the cart on their own and finish the purchase after you get done talking to them, and you'll end up with a lot more sales as a result. We're talking double digits more when a good salesperson who answers the phone can lock down the purchase over the phone, and especially when you can give them a little bit of an incentive and say, hey, look, I know you wanted to buy this. You said you maybe you'll purchase this next week. If you do it right now or by the end of the next 24 hours, we'll give you an extra 10% off. That worked extremely well. So anyway, with this particular client, we were taking those offline conversions that we got through the phone. We set up separate tracking goals in our client's account to track these extra sales. And we marked by default, the goal was set up it was under the category or labeled as offline qualified leads. And with the qualified leads, that is basically what it sounds like. To Google, they're going to assume it's a lead that's qualified, not a sale. Even though we were importing the sales revenue as the conversion value with those goals there, and the campaigns we're using maximize conversion value bidding strategy, so it's going to optimize for more conversion value, and it's still getting the same level of data as it would otherwise. The goal itself was not labeled as a sale, and that in and itself was enough to affect our potential with our campaigns. Okay, once we switched the goal label to have the category of purchases along with what our cart purchase tracking goal was set up to and labeled as, what do you think that did to our overall amount of money we could make from our ads that were already aged for a few years already and actually making our client millions of dollars a year in sales revenue itself and a few $100,000 a year in just pure profit? We had a 25% increase over the next 90 days in terms of our sales revenue. And that also weeds out any seasonal changes on top of it, specifically that we got from the previous 90 days, because usually at the end of the year, the sales ramp up, and that's what this wasn't what this is. So we got a non-anomaly change, statistically significant improvement in our numbers here just by switching that goal label. Of course, there's other things that could have affected it, but ultimately we were flat before we made this change for the most part, the previous 90 days, and it clearly went up once we made this goal change. So it started utilizing all the data that we've been uploading for years already as sales data, and it just started crunching the numbers and figured out, oh, well, we really should be running our ad here because people that bought on the phone, they're just as valuable as the people who bought through the cart, and therefore you should be showing up more here itself, and you're not, and so it helped us scale. It increased the sales revenue at a similar ROI. So it didn't improve the ROI, but it just scaled our ads, that's basically how it was able to do it, because I understand basically how Google's system works now in terms of how it utilizes conversion data, because I deal with it daily and I messed with it for over a decade now. So anyway, that's a perfect example and perfect motivation, if you will, as to why you want to classify your goals correctly. Now, as a side or as a caveat here to what I just said, if you already have a lot of results and you want to reclassify all your goals in your account, I would be highly careful of doing that all at once. I would try to change, if you can, one goal at once and space it 30 days apart so your campaigns don't go back into learning mode. And with that said, I would try to do it during your non-peak times of the year where you're relying on your sales the least, so that if you do see a little bit of fluctuation in your sales results coming from your ads, it's not going to be you took a hit during your busy season, so to say, to minimize any damage. Now, for that matter, I haven't seen campaigns go back into learning mode, switching things mid-year like that. But at the same time, I always follow the philosophy, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So if a client's making money already, we'll set up new goals that we want to track with the right categorization, but we're not going to switch the goals automatically to the new goal setting until we're already flat in terms of our revenue growth, because we have to. If the sales are already going up or already on its own, it's not broken, don't fix it, we're going to leave those. Why? Because I'm very risk adverse for our clients in that I don't want to mess up any momentum momentum our ads have by switching these goal categories, given that anymore it takes very, very little to send campaigns back into learning mode. And while I haven't seen it yet, it's not that it's impossible. And if you manage ads like I do, you would be very wary about making any kind of change. I mean, the smallest, tiniest change, you breathe on a freaking campaign, it'll go back into learning mode nowadays, especially with PMAX campaigns if you're using. So anyway, just be very careful when you do it. Don't automatically assume there will be no fluctuation in your results when you switch over. The more of it you change, the more likely, in my opinion, it's going to switch over, even though I haven't seen that directly. Now, the second case study I have is for somebody selling wakeboard supplies. Here in this particular instance, we had contact forms that we had categorized as just simply other. Google didn't know it was even a contact form fill or an inquiry, so to say. And what we did, we just simply switched that to track. It was a submit inquiry under the options that we had to choose from, or contact, if you will. And at that point in time, the results got better as well. So if Google has something set up, it's categorized as other, it's not utilizing all of that data at the level that it should be utilized, okay? In our particular instance here, we switched it from other, which for the most part, I think Google classifies other as like page visits and stuff like that, because under other, one of the subcategories they have to give you to choose from is page visits itself. So they were thinking that this was a high value page visit, maybe somebody who's been to the site 2-3 minutes or something like that people often do, whereas it was actual inquiries. And this particular account, we were looking for wholesale account, people wholesaling our stuff. So those inquiries were worth a lot. And we started getting a lot more of the wholesale inquiries once this happened. I saw it. It was a noticeable increase. So it started optimizing for that. And as a result, our revenue went up a clear 15% or so over the next 90 days. There again, makes a significant difference in your results if your goals are grossly miscategorized. And so therefore, you should recategorize them if you can carefully. And any new goals, make sure when you set those up from now on that they're categorized right from the start, because it pays to do it. And it takes an extra 60 seconds to do it. So, but what I've clarified and found out, because I was skeptical it would make it that much of a difference, clearly it makes a difference. And so every account that we work on, that's one of the things we're going to do at bare minimum to get our clients results that we have to get on guarantee and what we're promising them. So for that matter, if you want our agency to also promise you results, if you reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com, we'll set you up for that. We'll tell you the ways that we can do it and then what results we can provide you. Similar to that, we also sell ad templates. We can sell you a winning ad template that works for your niche market. If we've worked in your niche market before, where you literally are going to take the ads, landing pages, campaign templates that work for your niche market, you copy those into your account and get the same results we did in another city, state, or country for yourself with none of the money and time it took for us to figure out how to get to those results in your niche market in a different area. So ultimately, we got people using these templates to start whole other businesses. I mean, if you wanted to get into e-commerce, take one of our templates selling printer toners and sell printer toner and sell it in a country that our client isn't in. Turnkey business. Or you could subcontract out service work for a wheelchair ramp installation company, which is a nice niche market that you could open up a business like that today, work with a guy to do all the work, and you have a turnkey business. Anyway, if you're interested in that, let me know. We have hundreds of different niche market templates. So if you reach out to us, I'll let you know what we have available and what results we had available in those niche markets. Furthermore, if you are stuck where you're at in terms of your results, you don't want to work with an agency outright, but you have a question and want guidance on what to do to unstuck your results, reach out to me for a 30-minute coaching session. I can go through in that amount of time, look at your whole setup, your ads, your landing pages, your pricing, all of it, and let you know almost for sure where your bottleneck is, whether it is the website, whether it's your packaging of your product, and get to where your revenue and profits going up into the right again, or to just get your ads profitable if you weren't able to get them off the ground. I also offer that service as well if you want, so you can reach out to me at my firm for that as well. For that matter, so goal categorization is real important. Gonna be, in my opinion, even more important in the future by the time you actually see this video, given that Google's algorithm keeps getting more and more sophisticated all the time, and a lot more of your results all the time is predicated on the amount of conversion data you've racked up in your account over time, to the point where we've had accounts where client was running ads for 10 years, we copy all the ads, put them into a new account, and then at least the first week, the results are 95% less than what we have in the 10-year account already. Not to say you can't get the same results, but it takes time to build up the conversion data to get there. And it might take 6 months just to break even with it to get the minimum amount of data you need. The wealth of the account is the data, if you will. As a small side here, if you are looking for somebody that can just manage your ads and will pay for your ad spend, which sounds like a too good to be true offer, we do this with companies, select companies that we believe in and that we know we can get great results with ads with. And so if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me at our agency at guaranteedppc.com as well. We'll look at what you have. Ultimately, if you have something great to sell that all it needs is good advertising, we're the best. We're going to scale you to many more millions a year in sales and profit. We've done this with several companies already in exchange for a cut of their gross revenue increase of their company, not just from ads, but the overall. And we partner with them and we make them a much larger organization as a result of our efforts. And we do that as we're building up a whole network of companies that we're also invested in, because we make the most money that way versus just working with clients outright for monthly fees. And it's going great. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me and you can let me know what you have, guaranteedppc.com. I'll wrap it up with that though. Thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said conversion goals was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.